All right, welcome to our Power Breakfast interview this Thursday morning. Now, you watched them on television this morning on the news yesterday, declining to report back to work in northern parts of Kenya, which have been ravaged by security. With the support of the union, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary, it's called KUPPET in short, okay? In this studio this morning, we're joined by the chairman of KUPPET, Omboko Milemba, and a teacher from that particular area where they don't want to go, from Takaba School, secondary school, Mr. John Nyongesa. We want to explore why teachers don't want to report back to work in Northeastern and whether there's justification for that. Let's start with you, Omboko Milemba. You guys have been on protest for the last 2 months. We thought we had ended protestations. It has transited into another protest. When are we going to see the last of protests from your union or teachers generally before we get into the space?
Quite unfortunate. In fact, I'm not happy. I'm also getting tired. It began with the talks for the teachers' salaries, the many meetings. By end of November 27th, they have flopped. They had flopped, and the Teacher Service Commission was telling us that they have suspended the talks indefinitely. Then we went for our ADC in Nyeri. By the time we were going in Nyeri, the fire for Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa teachers was already on, because I remember before going to Nyeri on 5th of December, I had to go to Kakamega in the morning of 4th, attend a funeral for the 13 teachers who had died in Western, and the governor was there with the other politicians, and I flew back to Nairobi before going to Nyeri on 4th. So this is not a new story. It's just
the protestations against insecurity have been on for a long time.
For a long time.
Okay. But I wanted you just to paint the background before we get into the insecurity and the boycott of return to work for teachers in northern Kenya. How far things are, an update. I know you've gone to court with mediation over the salary disputes and so forth. Are these things now finished, done with that part?
Well, I was doing the chronology, but I could jump there and go back to the
just in a
chronology.
nutshell.
That, yes, we filed our petitions in the courts after the court ordered that the teacher strike be called off. Indeed, we have also met our National Governing Council, and we have suspended the strike indefinitely to give the courts a chance to determine, because this time we are not talking with employers, so the courts will determine. So we filed on Monday 19th. The Teacher Service Commission is expected to file on 26th, that's Monday, the coming Monday. The SRC is also expected to file after 10 days together with the Central Planning Unit. That will be on 1st of February, and then the court can pick up from there to determine.
Is the determination of the industrial court final, or is it appealable?
No. The determination of the industrial court is final, because matters of employee are dealt with in the industrial court. And remember, the industrial court was lifted to the level of the High Court. So it's actually
that will be it. There will be no appeal arising from any of them.
There will be no appeals. We don't expect appeals, and there will be no. That should be
so you're satisfied that the process is finally in the right hands. We can say teachers should vest all their hopes and faith in the courts. We know further.
Thank you. I like that. We believe that the determination will be quite fair, because the employer and the government were not willing to talk to us. The judge gave 2 options. One option was that go back and talk to the employer. The employer was given time to reason out and see whether they could talk to us. Second option, let the court determine. When the employer came back, that the Teacher Service Commission, they came back and said, for option 1, they are not willing to talk to us, and if we have to talk, then they must be given 90 days. Remember, in 2013, they also gave us 90 days, and we were going on strike because we had not talked and determined this issue within 90 days. So it was going to be a repeat of the same. And then we said no. So if that's the case, we go for option 2, which the employer also accepted.
And
option 2 was let the courts determine. Which is the work that those courts do on a daily basis.
Previously, there was animosity between KUPPET and KUNU. You could not even sit together. Looks now there's a serious marriage.
Oh, that's a nice one, because the last time I was
Yeah, the engagement has led to marriage.
I was here with Brother Susion.
Yes.
I don't think we're talking from the same tablet.
No.
But only fools keep grudges and don't change their mind. For the sake of the teacher, I think it was very paramount that we work together.
No,
and that's exactly
okay.
what we did.
No.
That does not in any way affect our union.
Remember,
as
going
corporate
forward,
Sure, we can move
after the
forward.
dispute is resolved by the courts, whichever way it goes, the verdict, what do we expect? Further cooperation between KNUT and KUPPET, or you go back to your shops again to run them?
Oh, certainly going back to our shops, but a window has been opened of cooperation. I think that's what is most
Forced by
important.
circumstances.
Honestly, when circumstances come to that level and that window
No.
can be used.
That's not a very good thing, because then you look like you're hell-bent on controversy and conflict. What is it that puts KNUT apart from KUPPET? You represent teachers of this country. Why can't you merge?
No, we can't merge. We can't merge. But let me answer the first question, because that's the gist. What puts KNUT and KUPPET apart? They are actually the separate interests, separate demands. There are specifications within the second school post-primary education sector which cannot be addressed by
Like what?
by KNUT.
Like what?
And it is just in recent time that KNUT now would talk about how do we discipline a teacher in the post-primary education sector. We shall use the boards of management. In primary, they'll use the DO and the TAP tutor system. The primary school leadership was not very comfortable coming to this BOM scenario, going to the PD formally, and so on and so forth. So the scenarios are so separate, and we need our own representation. But on issues of money, which are common, and others which may arise, there's no, I don't think it's not.
So that intention to
concrete.
unite or merge has now left the table.
We are not merging. We are not about to merge.
Who suggested you should merge?
He
Didn't you
suggested
meet
a few
in
months ago.
Zambia, or
We
where
are
was
all
that, or is it
cooperative.
Harare,
Oh.
and came back saying we're going to marry?
You said you are merging.
I like the story
Or the
of
betrothal
Zambia.
was
Yeah.
short-lived.
I think it wasn't a merger, but the communication was wrong. I think KNUT was communicating something wrong,
Okay.
and we were communicating
So
something.
you remain independent. But
We
first,
remain
final question on that
independent, but
merger, which
can
never
cooperate.
seems to come. What, in terms of membership, is it who represents who?
Thank you.
I've heard that there are members in secondary schools, or there used to be teachers in secondary schools who are in KNUT membership. And you seem to be claiming that particular cadre of teachers.
No, that's an easy one. You know, KNUT came up first, and it was there for a long time. And all teachers were in KNUT. The founders of KNUT were second school teachers and post-primary education teachers. Look at Kioni, look at Rob Job, look at Adongo, and you can go all the way. Those were post-primary education teachers. But when KUPPET came in and signed the recognition agreement with the Teacher Service Commission, it was supposed to have been presumed that the authority of KNUT over the post-primary education teachers ceased then. But of course, what we may be having are a few members who may have not crossed over from.
But there are members who belong to KUPPET and are still in KNUT. Are there?
To go back to.
Are there any
to
members
NAT.
of KNUT who are any members of KNUT
Any teachers
and
teaching
KUPPET?
secondary or post-secondary?
I think that's a better question. It makes it
Yes.
easier. Are there teachers at the second school who
Yeah.
are members of KNUT? Yes, there are a
Yes,
few.
they are there.
There are a
Yes.
few. But you know, it's because of the transition. When we came in, we started taking our lot.
Yeah.
But part of the lot, about 8,000 are still.
Okay.
okay.
All right. We will get another opportunity to look at how both of you are relating, KNUT and KUPPET. But now let's look at the big issue on the table. Your protests against going back to work in northern Kenya, let's say, put it that way, particularly Mandera, Wajir, I think are the areas which are being identified as insecure for teachers to work. Question one, are you speaking together as KNUT and KUPPET, or we are speaking as KUPPET alone?
Oh, on the issue of Mandera.
Yeah. And what is your position before I go to the teacher himself?
Okay. Mandera and Wajir and Garissa and Northeastern. And now even Baringo is coming in because many schools are closed in Baringo because of insecurity. It is my office that began this because I met the teachers from Mandera, and I met him that particular time being a pseudo leader of that group, and I told him, hey, you are dying and you are complaining, you are protesting, but who knows, a fire without a flame is presumed to be no fire. So what we need to do is to expose this to the media houses, and I think I'm the first person who raised this thing loudly in the media, and I called the media for them to protest. On 24th of December, I wrote a letter to the Teacher Service Commission that let's meet as unions and discuss the transfer of these teachers. But then the teachers union again did not react.
What did you propose?
We proposed that we have a meeting and see.
Transfer of teachers, what exactly did you mean?
Transfer, exactly, we meant remove them from Mandera.
And then who?
And then what you said transfer, how about posting? Or whom would you be posting there when you transfer
who will
them?
teach them?
I'm not missing the words here.
Yeah,
we
said transfer.
Remove the teachers from there.
Right.
Transfer them and post them into other areas that we have security.
That is Kenya.
Then we discuss how to deal now with those areas with security.
No.
You cannot have teaching going on in a war zone.
Okay, let's agree. Mutegi, let's follow this systematically. So you were to have the teachers removed from those insecure areas.
Yes.
One, was education going on, or had schools been closed?
The schools had been closed in December, Brother David.
So you expected the teachers to be posted out of there?
Good.
And when schools resume?
We were supposed to meet with the Teacher Service Commission now to see what remedy can we give those areas if security would have been restored. Because by the time we were writing this letter, there was no security in that area.
Okay.
So what were you proposing? What were you proposing? In your view, what
teachers?
You remove those ones there.
Yes.
When you go, imagine you are from there, you are the DO or whatever.
Thank you.
And then you have students and schools which need to be open.
Thank you. And we were going to meet with the Teacher Service Commission then to see the more, and I'm giving you my proposal, just relax, to see the most amicable way of going about that. It would have included several proposals.
Yes.
Right.
Suspend education for some time. If there's insecurity in Mandera, we could suspend issues of education because they cannot go on.
All right.
20 schools now are closed in Baringo. Why? Because of insecurity. They were attacked. We would have done the same for Mandera and Wajir and the other areas. Then, as we suspend the education and learning in those areas, then we would be saying, how shall we pick up again? This would have come out of the consortium of our meeting to see how we progress. Possibly, there are several ways we could explore seeing how to capacity build the local people there, because they don't like these teachers from upcountry. Capacity build the local people there.
They don't like the teachers from upcountry?
To do advocacy for the people there to start understanding that these teachers are here to help and they are not enemies, they are not gurales. I have a lot of
that
information.
Was option one. Option two.
I've given you option number 2. Do capacity building.
Capacity building for local people who are from that area.
Yeah, and involve the politicians. I've not heard the voice of the politicians who have been very loud from that area. They need to talk to their people to accept the presence of these teachers.
Which will take quite some time.
Of course, that will be.
Are you talking as if you are talking from that different country?
No.
That is Kenya.
It doesn't matter, Brother Mutegi.
Okay.
There are
That place
people
is Kenya.
in Kenya. Nyeri has got its people. Nairobi has got its people. And that is Kenya.
Third option? Those were the two options you presented.
Those were the two options. The third option was to see if we can hire as many as possible teachers from within the area also, if they are there, if they can quickly be accepted. But the main point delivered home was, if a teacher is insecure, if a teacher has died, and I went to bury 13 at a go in Kakamega, don't send there more teachers, because teachers will not be used as litmus paper.
May I ask this?
They will not be used as guinea pigs.
Okay, Milemba, Chairman, did you
test.
Ask the ministry or the government to suspend education activities there?
Thank you.
Instead of asking your members not to report to work.
Those were options, but I should have finished by saying the Teacher Service Commission never gave us a chance to have that meeting. Yesterday I was meeting them and I was telling them we should have had this meeting.
Okay.
So I was never given
Let's look at John Nyongesa. You are a teacher in Mandera. The school, perhaps you just give us the area and why, if that is your position, you think you need not report back to that school, and why you think your colleagues should not go there.
Thank you. There are definitely a wide range of issues that you guys and possibly the whole public does not know about the Northeastern. Way before the massacre, we had engaged the local leaders, we had engaged the TSC branches on the ground, we had engaged the police on several issues that affect teachers in Mandera. It's not once. Many a times we call them, the staffing officers, we tell them, look, ABCD is happening. And as a teacher, we are not comfortable. What is happening here is a matter of discrimination, assault, harassment, and so many other open ill motives towards the teachers.
Have you suffered in Takapa High School? Tell us about your situation that makes you not want to go there.
To me personally, you may want to feel it's a lie, but I arrived in that school and on the following day I had to do some shopping. As I was walking on the road, someone actually threw stones at me. And when I looked back, I saw a young boy who had thrown the stone, and old men were sitting there and they said nothing. To them, it was normal, it was ordinary. I looked back and I was like, what is this? I realized that I didn't know anybody. I proceeded. I had to look for another way out. When I went back to school, I personally live within the school.
Takaba
yes.
Secondary school.
Secondary school.
In Mandera?
Yes. There are only two houses within the school. One is a self-contained house, another one is not. The house we live in, we actually live 6 teachers. We live more or less than high school teachers in the same room, a small room, where we do everything, cook there. Something that you may not believe, that electricity is free in that region. It has been provided by the CDF. The school has electricity, and the head teacher's school is about 5 meters from the house we live in.
Head teacher's house?
Yes.
The house, yes.
The head teacher's house has power. Where we live in, there's no power. It's a big, the head teacher's house is a big house and modern.
Than the house you use. How many teachers are you in that school?
We are 16 teachers, but a number of them actually live out, especially the ladies and others who have families, live outside.
Now, you say 6 of you live in the house.
In the
other 6, the balance of those live outside the school.
Yep.
Are they from around there, or they're also posted there from distances?
Now,
give me the sort of demographics of the school.
Now, out of the 16 teachers, the principal, the deputy, and 4 more are locals. The rest are non-locals. For those of us who stay in the second house, all of us are non-locals, including others who live outside. There are things that we've tried to talk.
You've been there for how long?
I went there in 2012. This is my 3rd year.
So 3 years.
Yes.
You have has the situation you found there improved, or has there been any change noticed over that time?
Nothing.
Looking at your grievances and the condition of living, conditions of work, has there been any progress or improvement?
There is no improvement, totally nothing. And the worst thing is that if you make a complaint, you are targeted. And many times, even if the service being provided is weak and you complain, it will be withdrawn.
So what are your grievances? Applying yourself under cross-board because you represent the teachers who are protesting against going back.
Yes.
What are your grievances and how would you like them tackled?
I want you to understand one thing, that we've had so many complaints, but all of them actually we have money to work with. We complain, yes, no action is taken, but we've managed to work with. Up to this far, there are teachers in Mandera who've worked there for over 7 years. They have tried to get transfers, it has been futile. We haven't been complaining. You've never seen us on the street. You've never seen us at the TSC claiming we wish to get out of Mandera. The biggest problem has come when our colleagues were murdered. And they were not murdered just as any other terrorist attack. You understand that the terrorists, the so-called terrorists, got onto the bus, brought the teachers out, and then divided them on religious grounds. If you could not recite a Quran, you were killed on the spot. There are people who are chopped off their heads. And
well, it wasn't just teachers, right? As Mutegi has argued,
Yeah.
there were other government or employees, civil servants, or residents of those areas who are not necessarily employees of the government or working in the civil service. Is that not true?
But our interest here is teachers.
that is true.
Yeah.
And it will be unwise for me to begin agitating for other employees for whom I'm not concerned, for whom I'm not part.
Right.
Yeah.
But the largest percentage, especially for the first incident, were teachers.
Teachers.
Yes, some of whom we've worked with, we know, our colleagues, our friends. And believe me, it was devastating.
So the biggest challenge there is insecurity right now. Milemba, I
Right
want to
now,
explore it from
it's
the perspective of
insecurity.
the first-hand experience.
Yes.
So the government is saying, and the cabinet secretary yesterday in Kaiseri said, the government has restored security in northern Kenya, or the parts which were experiencing insecurity. You don't believe him?
It can't be believed, and you know that. We are looking at about 4,000 teachers working in Northeastern Province. If you've ever been to Mandera town, we have RDU, we have KDF, we have GSU, we have AP, and we have about 2 police in Kenya Police. There are so many. But all these instances have been happening in their presence. And even the police themselves are not safe. Some of our friends who are police, even to date, they still call us and tell us, come at your own risk. We cannot even protect you, leave alone protecting ourselves. There are so many police who are killed on a daily basis, even though it's not reported.
Is it possible that there are certain areas, okay, when you speak like that, you speak of which areas? And is it possible that there are areas or pockets in that region that are actually possibly safe? And before the not before the terrorist attack, were there attacks or incidents of insecurity that are not terrorist related that would make it impossible to work? Because terrorists track the main towns, but interior where schools are located, if you are working up inside Mandera,
My brother,
how is the situation?
My brother, the situation interior is worse. I want you to imagine, I want to talk from the testimonies of teachers. A situation where you are bending on a water tank. You are drawing water, and then you realize that water is now spilling over you. When you look, you realize that a bullet just passed over your head in the interior. And then when you raise an alarm, the locals come in and they tell you they were just testing a gun. Why should a gun be tested to a point that a bullet comes to you?
But is that, I don't know, I think you are mixing things. You are mixing labor issues and security issues. You are mixing cultural or cohesion and insecurity. You are complaining of not being recognized, not being wanted by the locals.
Accepted, yeah.
That has nothing to do with Al-Shabaab. That has nothing to do with insecurity. So you're mixing things.
Mtega, I want to let you understand one thing. That for me, Al-Shabaab is not a major threat. And believe me, I was not comfortable, even at the first mention of the word Al-Shabaab. because we have experienced worse situations on the ground. And believe me, I've not even gone to religion, I've not gone to cultural or anything. I'm still talking about insecurity. You cannot tell me, Mutegi, will work at a place where people test guns with bullets flying in the air. What if it got you? Situations where you are sleeping in the house, and then
are you saying
the next
the headmaster of the school where you teach and the deputy headmaster, who are locals,
yes,
do not appreciate and recognize your contribution to education in that school?
On the face view of it, you may imagine they do. But I want you to, I want to quote one instance when I was talking to my deputy. And I was like, we are so many of us. As a matter of fact, the non-local teachers, we outnumber the local teachers.
Yes.
Why is
the
it?
reason why they should appreciate.
Why is it that you rarely get a head teacher who's a non-local, a deputy who's a non-local, and the majority of even heads of department? Then the deputy told me, if I wasn't down in Kenya, I would not demand to be a head teacher, or I will not demand to be a deputy.
What's down Kenya?
Down Kenya is
Kenya
regarded as...
so not in northeastern.
Yes.
Below
the Tana River.
Inland.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I told him, in real sense, you are telling me, since I come from down Kenya, I should not even have hopes of ever becoming a deputy here, regardless of how much I'm qualified I am. He said, of course, that is it.
Chair, I had something that attracted me from Mutegi.
Yes, Melemba.
You know, he almost captures this well. I wrote a paper, and I wrote that paper after interviewing the teachers from those sides. And you almost capture the three things you have mentioned. That Mwalimu is mixing culture with labor issues.
Yeah.
Now, culture is playing a role, culture and religion is playing a role in the insecurity for the teachers in Mandera. So that needs to be tackled, and we need to bring it to the fore. And that's why he tells you, as he's passing, a boy just throws a stone at him. Maybe he did not tell us, why does this boy throw the stone? They don't look at the teachers there and the other people the way Brother David put it correctly, from down Kenya, now that I've mastered the use of that word, as the correct people who should be there. So I leave the issue of culture and religion. Then I go to the issue which you said again is being compounded with the security. The security of these people become then very, very unsafe, because they are being looked upon as intruders. And that's why in my beginning, I talked about one option would have given the leadership of that place, do advocacy, do cohesion. Why is it that people from that area in Mumias or Busia, no child would take a stone and throw to them simply because he's seeing they're a little bit more browner than the people in Busia? So the leadership must get in. These are very delicate issues.
Those are
but they
cohesion, socialization issues.
And leadership from the other side must come in. But from the position of the union, that is not our work. Our work is to make sure that teachers work in a good environment to deliver, and they are also remunerated well. That is why I was on strike 2 weeks ago, and today I'm saying, if Northeastern is not safe, then don't take their teachers. Bring the security. After bringing the security, we give you teachers.
But how can you get security? If you are talking about security, what security? What security will make the boy not throw a stone?
Oh, Mutegi asked me the same question, and I was just about to answer.
What security will make the headmaster or the deputy headmaster appreciate what we contribute?
I'm talking about the security that will make the teachers not be killed in numbers, separating them from those who can do a creed and those who cannot do a creed. That's the real security I'm talking about. The stone throwing, I think, for me, is not a very big thing. And let me remind you, and Kenyans, we have governments. Governments have a history. They are built on the basis of people surrendering certain powers to a group of people to do what pertains to those powers. And that is why, Mutegi, you may not be armed, and I'm not armed, but the government is armed. We gave them powers to give security.
Okay.
So it is
What
the government
Let's
to
move on to
provide
then
security.
what you have said. You have raised the issues fundamentally. What is the membership or what is the network that is standing on this position of no go to work, no return to work?
I do not have specific statistics, but we have about 1,300 teachers from Mandera. We have about...
That is primary and high school?
Yes.
Or all cadres?
teachers.
Yes, all teachers.
Yes. We have about 1,400 from Wajir and about 1,300 from Garissa. That makes about 4,000 teachers
Yeah.
or thereabout.
Yeah.
Now, we've been camping at the TSC, and the number keeps on changing because you know very well there are some who comes from very far as Kisii, Bungoma, Busia, and they cannot be going back every day. Some of us who come from within Nairobi, we are able to go home and come back. That's why sometimes you may come and get the number fluctuating, but no teacher is actually willing
To go back to work. But the question then is, what do you need to go back to work?
We do not want anything else but security. But since security cannot be assured to us in Northeastern, the government provides very well, and even TC Code of Conduct and Regulation provides very well that a teacher can teach anywhere in the Republic.
Yes.
Why must we be forced to go back?
That is somewhere in the Republic. That's what the TSC said.
Yes.
That is somewhere
Anywhere.
in the Republic of Kenya.
Anywhere.
Where the security.
Where the security.
It doesn't say where the security. It just says you must work somewhere.
It
anywhere
is
in
within
the
the same laws
Yes.
that
But it's
guarantees a
expected
teacher.
that place will be secure.
No, I'm
that is
saying
the
this.
expectation.
It
Yeah.
is provided within the same law that a teacher may be transferred to any region that is safe on that account,
In
that is
that-
threatened and his life is in danger.
Okay.
In that county
Yes.
where you
Okay.
work, where Takaba Secondary School is,
Yeah.
there must be other public servants who are from down Kenya,
Yes,
Yes.
who are non-Somali.
yes.
Do they have the same experience as teachers? There must be some vet, some doctor, some extension officer, some,
Yeah.
Are they- do they-
Ministries
do-
are
do
all
they-
over Kenya.
do they have
to
do they have
the
some
ground.
same experience?
I will talk about those that I'm familiar with, especially those that I interact mostly.
Yes.
We have policemen who actually live within the camp and are armed. We have the doctors and the nurses who live within the premises, the hospitals, which are guarded. We have teachers who live in the villages. Between the three cadres, who are more vulnerable. We are soft targets. Anybody wishing to do any harm
Can do.
to any down Kenyan will definitely target teachers because they are just there in the, out
Okay,
there,
that's
and
true.
we are actually intermingling.
You are
with them.
vulnerable. But what is the history? Do you have a chronology or record of incidents that point to that life-threatening environment you're talking about? Well, there are people who have not accepted because of cultural and ethnic issues, prejudices. The environment of teaching is not good because those are remote areas. I mean, parts of this country are like that. But do we have incidents that say your life is totally threatened besides the terrorist attacks that we've witnessed?
Yes, at first I said this, and I was mentioning an incident where actually a teacher was sleeping, and the next room
Yeah.
where he was assumed to have slept
Yeah.
actually was blown up.
Yeah. But what I mean is that we would say, look, this is a record of incidents that have happened. 3 teachers were killed in this school on this particular day. Another incident happened like this. Teachers were either injured or whatnot. Another happened like that. Because everywhere in this country, you are most likely to get threats to people working or living there because this country is not 100% secure.
Yes.
So you'll always get those threats and what I would call hazards of every profession.
My brother, remember this is a very expansive region. I may not be having exact names.
Okay.
But-
there are no statistics. Milemba, might you have
but
any
instances,
that lead you to
Give me a
support
minute.
this? Okay.
instances where teachers have been killed are just so many. I want to give you one Mr. Karioki Mwangi, who the bandits came and then he ran to a police station, an AP camp. And then the bandits actually outnumbered the APs. and they killed all of them. When they went inside the houses of the APs, they found 2 of them, and they took them, and they found a teacher lying on the floor. So what did they do? They beheaded the teacher. They shot him and beheaded him. The following morning, the police service came, and they were actually extracting the bodies, and they left the teacher there. Actually, it took the intervention of local teachers who demonstrated to a point that they were forced to take this teacher, the body of this teacher.
Right.
A portion
In that case, showing a total disregard for the teacher.
A portion of that question was allocated to me. Do I have the chronology?
Yes.
I don't.
Statistics.
I don't know why you would ask me statistics of the events in Northeastern, whether they have been affecting teachers or not, because I'm aware that that this type of killings in Northeastern are very long, and David, you understand that very well, being a student of Eastern government. The Shifter War was just Northeastern. We lost a DO in 1978. I can begin in 1978 if we call Welimo. He was just killed like that. And all along we have the history of what goes on in Northeastern. But what we are saying now, so even if I don't give you 1, 2, up to 9, what we are saying now, it has completely deteriorated. When you lose 27 people at a go, then you know you are losing.
I agree, Melemba, and that cannot be underestimated. It cannot be understated, but you appreciate that this was one incident, and it was an attack, on a group of people who were together. If there were scattered incidents in one here, another one in that place, another one in the other, Takaba, and so forth, it will be looked at
like
differently.
they did in Paketoni.
Yeah, different attacks. This was one attack which was very fatal, and that is understood.
There were 2.
That's why I was tracking.
There was one in the bus,
danger,
and there was
and somebody in the public domain will wonder. We've not had many teachers killed in different incidents, okay? So when they say, we don't want to go to Northeast, people must say,
David,
and I can see correspondence here saying, okay, somebody says, if you don't want to go to Mandera, quit. There are those who want to go and work there. Another one says, true, teachers the truth is, most of the locals hate down Kenya people. I worked there. So there is support for what we are saying, but there's also the feeling that, look, you cannot black out an area, especially without evidence that this particular area is facing it, this particular area, because areas must be treated differently.
You don't need many small episodes to make a judgment. You need even a big episode that takes care of what you'd want a small episode to make a judgment of security in a place. Hitler killed many Jews. He did not have to kill them in sports. There was the Holocaust.
They were gassed.
Yes, what we are seeing
I wanted
is
to ask
dangerous.
Yes, let's hear you guess.
Maybe it's you should be answering the question. How many people would you have expected that they should have died before we declare that we were not going back?
It's like you have not seen many people there
because if one is killed, it has not come to the fore. If one person is killed, it's not known.
A question
how
that
many
is
did you
supposed to
expect?
box me. But yes,
I want to ask you. Looks to me the solution to this thing is socialization and politics. As we are not trying to talk to the leaders of that area, those areas, MCAs, county commissioners, politicians, government, because it is to their disadvantage. Because they don't have
capacity.
They don't have the capacity.
To local capacity.
They don't have vets. They don't have doctors. They don't have. So are you thinking of maybe going there as a union and telling people, look, you need these people. Don't harass them.
Thank you. And that was my proposal number 2, which we were supposed to give the Teacher Service Commission and the government authorities that do advocacy, do socialization, do capacity building for acceptance. And actually the government should come in. From the union point of view, I think ours is to propose. But the machinery to carry out that would then go to the local leadership of MCAs, any other leadership below that, the governor. By the way, they should be very vocal by now. I don't know where this man who wanted to devolve education so as to kill the strike is now, because he should also come in and help out, because that's the advocacy we need. And that's the advocacy we need for acceptance, and then we move forward.
Let me go back to...
Because we are not against teachers going there, but the issue of security and acceptance. And I think it has happened to some places. The Rift Valley was volatile.
As
but
there was
acceptance is there.
There was a time Narok was like that, all teachers.
But now acceptance is there.
And all those
because of Nasupukia, many teachers left.
There were a lot of clashes there. But Nyongesa, you are the teacher now. Your job is on the line. You're saying you're not going. The TSC says go.
Yeah.
As they have said, go back to work. The government says they have guaranteed security. What kind of provision will enable you to go back to school, to work?
To go back to Mandera?
Yes. Or is this just that you are not going to go back and you have said, regardless of what they're going to give you, you want a transfer? Let's face it.
Actually, our problem is not necessarily the transfer. Our problem is that we have to make a choice between the job and life.
Yes.
I don't know whether you get this.
Yes. Now that's what I'm saying. If the choice has to be made.
Mr. Joseph Ngaiseri will give me an AP armed, so that when I go to class, I'm safe. If I go to buy greens, I'm safe. If I'm walking around, I'm safe. Why not? I will walk out there, go to Isli, take a bus, and be sure that I'm going to...
Give me Sankaiseri a proposal.
I'm going to travel for over 20
hours. Give Sankaiseri and the TSC a proposal.
Suspend.
Yes. Yeah. Give them a proposal right now.
Suspend.
What I'm saying is this.
I wanted to give a
it has happened.
I'll come to Milemba
from the Indian
perspective. But from you at Takaba in Mandera.
It happened in 1992.
Yes.
In 1997, 2002, 2007. When there is an insecurity in a region, not only teachers, but all other people who feel insecure are usually transferred. This is not the first instance. We don't know why the government is reluctant on this issue. We don't know. And the truth is, we don't need another 27 or 50
two reasons
before the government comes to realize
the two reasons why the government, in my view, would not want to do that. One is an admission of defeat, which the government cannot swallow.
Yes, you are right.
Two, what will it do to the others? They'll also want to move us out. Three, it means then the whole of Northeastern must be vacated over any human beings because there's insecurity affecting even locals.
The first.
So considering those, I'm not the government,
yes,
but just looking at it from playing the government side of things, what should the government do to enable you to go back to work and to keep life in Mandera, Garissa and Wajir going on?
What the government should do, it actually, they know better. But I want to tell you that if the government feels that taking teachers out of Mandera is a sign of defeat, then in short, they are trying to tell us that we are litmus papers. We are guinea pigs to go and test the waters. When you are killed...
No, they're saying they're providing the security. They're saying we're not defeated. We are coming to give you security.
My friend,
what kind of security complement do you need
recently
for you to go back to work?
There were 2 escort vehicles with 4 armed policemen escorting a bus to Mandera.
Those are few.
I'm telling you one thing, an instance. The 3 vehicles actually left, I think, somewhere Tarbajo or somewhere. They were heading to Mandera. When they reached Mandera, only 2 vehicles reached. The first one that was ahead never found its way to Mandera. They were asking, where are our colleagues? At the time they were asking, they were in Somalia.
Somalia, they had been abducted.
You are abducting a police officer with a gun. What will you do to a man with a chalk in the hand?
A teacher.
A teacher.
All right. So
if that is the security the government is providing, if it were you, my brother,
if they multiplied that times 10,
are you thinking of an option to forget about that and to forget about TSC and look for a job?
If it means I have to punish my parents, my wife and kids for the sake of the job, then I'd rather remain alive and do away with the job.
So are you looking for a job?
If you give me, I'll take it.
I'm asking whether you are looking.
I'm definitely doing it.
But from my position, would be
now,
there's no need of...
Let's finish this up. Milemba, you said you tried to see the TSC yesterday. Or whom did you meet? And what was the sort of agreement or what is going forward? What do you expect?
I met the CEO of Teacher Service Commission, Mr. Gabriel Longoboini. With his team, I was also in company of officials from the union. I was together with Julius Corrie, the vice chairman, And we told him that because of the security in northeastern Mandera, in particular Wajir, Garissa and environs, what you do, move these teachers out. Because I'm also aware there are few other people who may have gone there if they feel they are not insecure. But the ones who are not ready to go to Mandera and environs, move them out. Because look at Mwalimu. Mwalimu is saying he's supposed to choose between his life and the job. The rest are details, they are with him. So that's the proposal I gave him. Furthermore, we told him then, we gave him 24 hours to actually transfer the teachers, because it's something he can do, and he can do it with ease. Going to your issue of, it is integrated in this, of will it prove that the government is weak? Then I think he answered it correctly. We shall not use teachers as a test of security in places. We shall not use teachers to show that we are strong against Al-Shabaab when the teachers are actually being killed. The other option we actually are giving them is to do advocacy, and I think I've talked about that in great length. I wouldn't want to repeat. And if that cannot work, transfer all these teachers to other areas and suspend education in that area for some time as advocacy is being done. Once we get tranquility and security, who doesn't want to work? Teachers will go back to Mandera, Wajir and Garissa and continue working. So the court is on the other side.
I think it's a similar thing happened in Narok.
Narok, yeah.
When there was an Osupuki and then the teachers ran away.
Yeah.
And then of course the schools are not, but so
the schools are closed.
Their KCP and the whatever crumbled.
Crumbled.
And they realized
Yeah.
we need them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the place is secure, it means children can't even come to school.
Can't come to school.
Therefore, teachers, or even if they are there, will be idle, will be earning for doing nothing. Yeah. So it's either way. Find a solution has to be found.
Suspend the education for a while.
We have to tie that. Thank you so much, Chairman Kupet Omboko Milemba, and Mr. John Nyongesa, teacher at Takaba Secondary School in Mandera.
Yep.
I hope you will continue to have that title for some time, seeing that TSC is not willing to transfer you, and that you will stay on the payroll. And I hope they don't punish you for that. That was it. We're looking at whether the teachers' boycott of return to work in northern Kenya, Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, is justifiable, and the reasons, therefore, for their boycott. Hope it was informative, and thank you for watching Power Breakfast.